was something that was 10 years ago. Climate change and human rights did not exist as a field, and this very creative and group of indigenous peoples, and they were suffering tremendously from climate change impacts. They brought a petition. This was not a lawsuit to a court. This was a petition to a commission. And they essentially alleged that the Arctic melting that was happening all around them, this was in the US, Canada, Greenland, throughout the Arctic, large indigenous population of Inuit. They alleged that the US, in its failure to regulate climate change, essentially was accelerating the loss of ice that was causing them harm. And they raised it as a human rights violation, that there is an international Inter-American Human Rights Commission that addresses human rights in this region of the Americas. And of course the petition did not succeed, but it was fantastic about drawing attention to climate change and a human rights issue. It was just thought of as an environmental issue prior to this case. So what they did was they framed all of these traditional human rights in a way that was related to climate change. So climate change and melting was affecting the right to health, property, access to food and water, the ability to practice their culture. I mean, remember, this is a hunting and fishing community of indigenous peoples. When the ice is melting, they are falling through the ice when they're trying to hunt. The permafrost is unstable. Their homes are falling through the ice. The right to property, the right to life is being threatened here. Right to self-determination. This is what they call home. This is how they define themselves. And they fashioned all of these rights into one label called the right to be cold. That was their mantra in this litigation, that essentially all of these human rights amounted to their right to be who they were, and it was being compromised because of the accelerated melting from climate change. So it was a very powerful theory, and it really launched the climate change and human rights movement. This is just a very quick reference to international environmental law is not going to help us at all in addressing climate refugees. International environmental law really is about the environmental problems, the resources. It's not about people. So you have to get really creative, whether you're talking about bringing claims under ocean law regimes or climate change regimes. There's really nothing right now that says human rights violations, potential human rights violations, are actionable. It's just not there yet, after decades of negotiations. And there's huge obstacles, worse than US law, to be able to successfully litigate any kind